How many of you can't even look at yourself in the mirror, in your own eyes, at your own face, and fully feel like you love yourself and that you respect yourself? In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how we can feel confident and feel so much inner, deep, and powerful love for ourselves, and how that can change every aspect of our lives. It's time to have a meeting with yourself. And this isn't something that we typically ever do, where we really fully hold space for ourselves and speak to ourselves directly. Since we don't do this, it's oftentimes that we forget that we are human. Just as we're looking at our brothers and our sisters in this world, we are also humans ourselves. And so when we're not looking into our own eyes and fully seeing ourselves, oftentimes we can forget who we are and forget how much we've gone through, and that we're just another human, just like any of our best friends or any of our family members. And sometimes instead we look at ourselves as something to criticize and pick apart, when in fact, when we truly look into our own eyes, we can begin to see ourselves as all of those past versions of ourselves, all of those younger years of us. That is us too. That little girl, that little boy, that is us. And when we can incorporate these practices, we can truly feel that connection and feel that deep inner self-love that is fulfilling and feels so grounded in who we are. Mirror work is quite literally the foundation for all of our other work. Because when we can't stand to look at ourselves, how can we accomplish all that we desire in this world in a most deeply fulfilling level? And when you look in the mirror, you become so confronted with who you really are, and all of your fears and all of your dreams, everything that you feel guilty about, which is so hard. It's not always easy work, but it is so deeply fulfilling and so powerful that we can truly transform our entire lives by speaking certain words into our soul, as the eyes are the windows to our soul. And so I want to begin, before we look in the mirror at ourselves, is asking yourself, why are you truly feeling this low self-worth? Why do you have low self-esteem? Why don't you love yourself completely? And where is this feeling in your body? Where is it located? Where is it concentrated? And once you've found where it's concentrated, I want you to ask yourself, if it had anything to say, what would that be? Where do you feel like this is coming from? Why do you have these beliefs? Either journaling through this or beginning to stand in front of a mirror and begin to talk to yourself. Look into your own eyes and start to ask yourself these questions. Start to connect. Have a conversation. Open up with yourself. And when you become vulnerable with yourself, there's so much work that can just be worked through. when you look at yourself and you talk to her. And now we're beginning the process of fully beginning to face ourselves and having a specific geared conversation. But before we do that, I want, while you're standing in front of the mirror, looking into your own eyes, I want you to just intuitively feel into what comes up for you. It's going to feel uncomfortable having a conversation with yourself, but the more you practice this, the more your life will change the way that you feel about yourself, the way you feel about your life. Everything will change. When you're looking into your own eyes, asking yourself, what do you need? Seeing what comes up from there. Does she need more support? Need more love? Need more patience? Need more perseverance? This is not a place to criticize yourself, but to instead tap into the deep wants, desires of her. Whatever comes up is perfect. And as you're looking into your eyes, allowing whatever comes up to come up, oftentimes there's tears. When I began to do this work, the first time I began talking to myself, I was just crying and crying and crying. And that is perfect, because the more you practice this work, the more you're able to release and keep releasing and keep releasing. And when you're crying in this process, I want you to look at yourself in your own eyes while you are crying and comfort yourself through this process. Repeating to yourself that I support you. I'm here for you. You'll never be alone because I'm here. Repeating this to yourself and comforting yourself through this process of crying and grieving and releasing. How often can we do that? How often does anybody do that for us? So comfort yourself. You can do that. Give yourself permission to do so. I want you to repeat this affirmation, a sentence, to yourself in the mirror. And looking into your own eyes yet again. And you can replace God, universe, source, nature, whatever it is. I'm just going to use the word God, as it can be kind of a universal word to use, but you can use anything else. I'm just going to speak with that word. God made me always lovable just as I am. And just repeating this to yourself in the mirror as many times as you need. Really letting it sink in and sitting with yourself with this. As when we remember that source made us inherently lovable no matter what, just as we are. When we fully remember that, and when we look into our own soul and recognize that, we tap into a deeply newfound sense of self-love and self-acceptance and respect. And if you're not religious, you can use I am always lovable just as I am. And you can create any sort of sentence that you need that feels good and that feels like it needs to be heard towards yourself. Just speaking to yourself. It doesn't need to be anything specific. These are just helpful phrases that I've used that I enjoy. And I like to tell myself, I'm so strong. And repeating yourself, I'm so strong. And I am inherently lovable. Repeating that, continuing to repeat that to yourself, as well as there is nothing wrong with you and there never was. And how deeply profound is that? Because how many times in your life have you felt like when people have ignored you or not fully loved you, or if you've been abandoned by parents or in past relationships, or just being ignored or left out in your life, how often have you felt like it was your fault when oftentimes it had nothing to do with you? A lot of times it was just a projection. And just coaching yourself, there's nothing wrong with you and there never was. Now beginning to repeat and coaching yourself by forgiving yourself, looking into the mirror and speaking to yourself, I forgive you because, and allowing yourself to have a few endings on the I forgive you. About 3, 4, however it feels suited for you. Because when we can forgive ourselves, we can forgive others and truly release so much resentment and negative energy that has been holding onto us throughout our lives. And one of my favorites that I like to speak to myself is, I am here for you now. Allowing yourself to sit with that. Looking into your own eyes and speaking, I am here for you now. I am here for you now. And allowing yourself to feel that, deeply feeling that within your heart. Because how many times have you not been there for yourself? Have you not shown up? And that is okay. That's why we're forgiving ourselves. But we're here for ourselves now. And the more that we practice speaking to ourselves in the mirror, the easier it is for us to speak to others, to respect others, to love ourselves, and to accomplish and feel confident enough to accomplish all that we desire in this life. Because the more we can speak to ourselves in a way that is compassionate, loving, caring, the more that we can truly transform and manifest and release anything that isn't serving us in our energetic body. And that allows so many amazing things to be brought into our being, to be brought into our reality. Because the more inner self-confidence we have, the more love that we have for ourselves, the more that shows up in the world, as the world is just a mirror to how we feel about ourselves and to what we believe. So when we change our beliefs, we change our lives. As this mirror work is literally quite the catalyst to getting anything we want in our lives. Because the way we speak to ourselves changes everything. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate you for being here. I make videos every single week, so please like and subscribe and comment if this video resonated with you. Thank you, and have a beautiful rest of your week. Bye.